Okay, remember how a long time ago Solmatul told us that when we tried to seek out the title of Nervarine, a whole bunch of people are going to come for our heads? Mostly from the temple? And you remember how a bunch of updates ago, Ethan Serethi gave us a note which told all the people that we are a wanted criminal and that they should come arrest us? I remember how both times it happened I sort of hand-waved that aside and said that didn't really matter then. Well, this is the update where that starts mattering. See, we've gotten the title of Nervarine from all 4 of the Ashander tribes, the title of Hortator from all 3 of the Great Houses, and the temple is not happy at all about the fact that we've done that, has now sent out the Ordinators to try and come arrest us, or probably even kill us. Yet despite this, we have to somehow meet with the Archcanon in the middle of Vivec. This person right up ahead is going to arrange that meeting for us. She asks quite urgently if we want to meet the Archcanon. Of course we do, and she says in no uncertain terms that we need to avoid confrontation with the Ordinators at all costs. She tells us that there is a private back entrance to Ceriani's quarters, and she also mentions that we can sneak past the Ordinators, but that's for stealthy characters, and my character is not one of those.
Yes, sir.
The back entrance is just past here. Normally we would enter into 2 doors on either side of that structure just underneath, but we have to avoid Ordinators, and that's not a good way to do that. And there's an Ordinator just up ahead. I could probably get past him if I can get around this NPC here. And now, as you'll notice, I am right by this Ordinator, and nothing is happening. See, according to all the dialogue in the game, a bunch of scrolls in the game, and really the game's canon in general, this Ordinator is supposed to be attacking me right now. Yet according to the construction set and the game's code, there is no mechanism which actually causes that Ordinator to attack me. I have no idea why Bethesda didn't include that in the game. I could probably whip up a script and test it in like maybe an hour or so that would do that. But I can just walk around Vivec all I want, and none of the things that the game told me are going to happen will actually happen. This door right here is the back door to the Archcanon's office, and I have to be somewhat careful in picking this lock because the Ordinator can sometimes see me through the wall. It's kind of weird. And here is Archcanon Ceriani.
What, Outlander?
As he mentioned in his note, he is willing to change the temple's stance on the Nervarine. The main reason he gives for this is that Dagothur has become too much of a problem for the temple to ignore, and so they are willing to allow us to be the Nervarine and reverse their stance on it so that hopefully the Nervarine can take care of that problem. But Ceriani says that he is actually not going to take care of this himself. He is instead going to have us meet with Vivec, and Vivec will be the one to deal with all of this. So Ceriani gives us a key to the palace as well as a key to the back of his office, which we just unlocked by ourselves. And we are going to go meet with the god Vivec. Ceriani also mentions that we're still supposed to avoid confrontation with Ordinators, even though if I wasn't wearing Ordinator armor, I could just walk up to one of them and have a fairly decent conversation and they wouldn't do anything.
Yes, sir.
So after all these updates of me talking with him and talking about the importance of Vivec on the island of Morrowind and to Morrowind's lore, we finally get to meet him in person. Are you guys ready? I'm ready. And there's Vivec in his lovely little god levitation pose. That's all he does all day, really, just kind of switch back and forth between those 2 poses. Only slightly less boring than what Amelie Lexi and Sothasil do all day. Although Sothasil's kind of cool. Vivec gets right down to business, as is noted in the dialogue box. The first thing Vivek says he's going to do is he's going to end the persecution of the Nerevarine and the distant priests by the temple. This he is going to declare us, as Ceriani mentioned, the last stand against Dagoth and the Sixth House. The second thing Vivek is going to do is he's going to give us Wraithguard, which you'll remember from a bunch of episodes back is one of Kraganek's tools. He's just going to kind of give us this very important godlike artifact as a gift, and then just let us off on our own, which is a great idea that cannot possibly go wrong at all. So we shall choose to accept Wraithguard as a gift, I guess. But before we actually get Wraithguard, Vivek makes us swear an oath about pledging to defeat Dagoth and saving the people of Morrowind, and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. And now Vivek is going to do something quite nice. Vivek is going to send us forward in time to the part after we've learned how to use Wraithguard, so you don't have to experience the pain and tedium of actually learning to use Wraithguard. So while our character has experienced something quite painful, we just have to experience 2 paragraphs of dialogue. And now that we know how to use Wraithguard, Vivek is going to tell us about the details on the plan to defeat Dagoth. And I'm going to skip through this right now because Vivek is going to hand us a scroll with details that I'm going to read through to you once I've closed out of this dialogue box. The actual plan to defeat Dagoth consists of several steps. The first step is a series of aggressive raids to scout inside the ghost fence. Now, if you were a new player to this game and didn't quite know the layout of Red Mountain, this would actually be pretty important, because Red Mountain is where the game sort of takes out all the stops, and in no uncertain terms, this is really the hard part of the game, and things go crazy, and it's not a nice place to be if you don't know the layout. The second step is a series of aggressive raids to neutralize Dagoth the Ash Vampire kin and recover the artifacts. You guys already saw one of the Ash Vampires way back in Kogaruin, and there are 6 more that we have to take care of. This is an optional step, but it's also quite nice because you get some nice artifacts from it. The third and fourth steps are an assault on the Citadel of Veminal to recover Sunder, and an assault on Odersal to recover Keening, which are the other 2 of Kraganek's tools. Now, step 3 and 4 can be done in whatever order you want. It doesn't really matter, as long as you go there and recover Sunder and Keening. And then, of course, the final step is an assault on Citadel Dagoth, with all 3 of Kraganek's tools to sever Dagoth's connection to the heart of Lorkhan, and then defeat him. Now, the rest of the scroll goes in detail into how all this is supposed to work, but since you guys are going to be viewing this in videos anyway, it's not all that important, although there are a couple things I want to at least cover, just you might be wondering about that. The scroll goes into a little bit of the history, which I've already discussed, or at least you already know if you didn't watch that particular video. And it goes in detail on how exactly you're supposed to destroy the heart of Lorkhan. It mentions that Dagoth and the Tribunal derive their source of power from the heart of Lorkhan, and once you destroy it, the Tribunals can lose their power, but they're completely fine with that, since it ends up destroying Dagoth and solving a whole bunch of problems in the process. So, if we were to normally derive power from the heart, the first thing we would do is put on Wraithguard, and hit it once with Sunder, and then hit it another time with Keening a special way. However, we have not been taught that special way because we're not going to do that and derive power from the heart. That would be evil. Instead, we are supposed to put on Wraithguard, strike it once with Sunder, and then strike it a whole bunch of times with Keening, and that will eventually destroy it. And it mentions this whole bunch of weird things about tones and multi-tones and tone shades and crazy things like that, but they don't really matter. We're destroying the heart anyway. And once we've destroyed the heart, everybody will be happy, the blight will be over, and will be the champion of Morrowind. But now that we know the plan to defeat Dagoth, we can more or less head to Red Mountain and actually carry it out. I'm Musical Daredevil. Join me next time when we head to Red Mountain.